Where's my sheet?
Distributor relations and stuff like that. You had a productive day?
Oh, it's been a long one.
Awards for different
Good for you.
conferences. I enjoyed it.
Good. Keep busy. Pretty busy at work.
I'd
So
like to start a.
Well, it's never going to be 7.
till 11 last night.
Ah, there it is. Everybody ready?
Let's do it.
Good evening. Welcome to the September 18th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. At this time, I would request that everyone please turn off or mute all cell phones and other electronic devices. Also at this time, I would invite everyone to stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. An application for a, excuse me, an application for a conditional use permit request will be heard during tonight's meeting, and the commission will vote on this application and make a recommendation to the county council. The application will then be scheduled to be introduced before the county council at the Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 county council meeting. Public comment for conditional use permit request will be taken during tonight's meeting and at the council meeting on Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Public comment on the conditional use permit application will not be taken at any meeting of the county council held thereafter. The following documents are introduced as a matter of record for this evening's public hearing and regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Those documents are the Unified Development Ordinance of St. Charles County, including zoning maps, the year 2030 Master Plan for St. Charles County, which includes the year 2030 Future Land Use Plan Map, and the Rules of Order and Procedure for the Planning and Zoning Commission as adopted by Resolution 21-01. I see we have a quorum. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion been made and seconded to open the meeting. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good evening. I will give you a little rundown as to how we conduct the meeting. I will read into the record the application, and then we will ask the staff for their report. Commissioners may or may not at that time have questions for staff. Then we'll ask the applicant to come forward and present the application and answer any questions that anyone here on the commission may have. Then we will open the public hearing for that application. Anyone wishing to speak regarding the application can come forward. At either time when the applicant comes forward or the public hearing, someone comes to speak, I have to swear you in. Then we will close the public hearing. Once we close the public hearing, it is closed. Ask the applicant to come back if there's any issues that come about during the public hearing, to answer questions. And then we will take the application under consideration and we will vote. So that's a pretty quick rundown of the meeting. The first, if anyone is here for a zoning map request, zoning map amendment request at 678 Forestdale Road, and our preliminary plat request for Autumn Meadows, I can't read tonight. Those items have remained tabled. So the only thing we have on the agenda this evening is a conditional use permit request at 2945 Highway 94 South. This is application CUP 24-05. Property owner is Stephen W. Nolte. Applicant is Wayne Bill Nolte. Current zoning is A Agricultural District. The conditional use permit request is general contracting services related to building, electrical, heating, and cooling, painting and plumbing, provided that materials, vehicles, and trailers used in connection with such services shall be stored within an enclosed building, and provided that any site occupied by services permitted under this provision shall be a compact site having at least 150 feet of frontage on a public road and an area no greater than 2 acres. The parcel is 1.1 acre. The location is Lot 11 of Parsons Addition, located on the east side of South Highway 94 between 3rd and 4th Street in Defiance, Missouri. This is located in Council District 2. Staff.
Good evening, Commissioners. The applicant is requesting to operate a general contracting service building in Defiance at the corner of 3rd Street and Highway 94. The proposed building is a 2,560 square foot pole barn. The proposed building will be used by the applicant for storing various materials and equipment related to his business, his rental business. This would include cabinets, flooring, paint, HVAC equipment, piping, trailers, and other items related to restoration and maintenance projects. The general contracting building will not be open to the public and will have no access to customers. The applicant will be the only employee at the building. The surrounding land uses include single-family residence to the north and the east, accessory structures to the west, and a postal office to the south. Traffic impacts are expected to be minimal as there's only one employee reporting to the building. A new entrance is proposed off of 3rd Street, and one parking space will be provided. When analyzing conditional use requests, staff uses criteria in section 405-510B to evaluate the request. Staff finds that the applicant's request does comply with the criteria as shown in the report. There are 0 letters of support or opposition on file. With that being said, staff recommends approval of the application with conditions listed in the staff report.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I ask the applicant to come forward. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings with the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Brad Pryor. My address is 200 North 3rd Street, St. Charles, Missouri, 63301.
Go ahead, sir.
So yeah, Jack did a pretty good job of summing everything up. As I said, my name is Brad Pryor. I was hired by Bill Nolte, who's the listed applicant in the staff packet. Bill unfortunately could not be here tonight. He had some event come up that he couldn't reschedule. So I have Steve Nolte, his son, who is...
Oh, I didn't turn my phone off. Hey, I'm having a bad night.
So anyway, Steve Nolte, Bill's son, who's also the property owner, is here in the event there are any property-specific type questions that, I may not be aware of. But as, Jack presented, the requested use is the general contracting services. The reason for the request is that Bill Nolte, he owns various rental properties in and around the St. Louis area. And as part of that, he kind of provides a full-service repair, rehab, restoration for his current tenants and for whenever there's a reoccupancy issue. If somebody were to leave, he generally rehabs that building or whatever the case may be. And Bill's been doing this for years, and he got to the point now where he's got, stuff sprawled out, equipment, materials over here, some stuff over there, some stuff here. So his idea was, well, let's look at building a building. So he and Steve came up with this idea of putting it down here in Defiance, and upon, contacting staff, staff indicated to Bill that it would likely require the conditional use permit based on the description of the use and what was going on. And so, we've had some communications back and forth with staff, and that's led us here to the submission and to the application and these proceedings. Now, I just wanted to cover a few things with respect to the conduct of the use. So as Jack pointed out, everything will be inside the building. There's nothing external to the building. All the storage, everything related to any time that Bill's there will be done inside. There will be no parking of vehicles or trailers or anything like that outside. In addition to that, kind of on the same token, there will be minimal, if 0 to minimal impact on traffic. Namely because there's no retail type services. There's no, it's not going to be, it's unique in the sense that there's not going to be members of the public that come to the building to, for whatever reason, right? It's not that type of business. It's more strictly related to Bill's specific operations at his at his rental properties. As Jack stated, there's no employees, right? There's Bill and there's Bill, right? Bill is the guy, right? There's nobody that works underneath of him in the traditional sense of the employee context. Now, Bill will hire in the event that, say there's a project that involves, plumbing or electrical or HVAC or something. Bill does hire subcontractors, right? He works with a lot of subcontractors, and he has for many years and has good relationships there. So there's subcontractors that work underneath of him, but they will never be at the building, right? It's only Bill there. He's, they're not, they have their own buildings, they have their own places that they'll launch from, but they meet at the site, right? And part of kind of the uniqueness of this situation is Bill, even when he hires subcontractors, he provides the materials, right? That's why he has such a surplus of materials everywhere. So if it's, say he's replacing the furnace, he's generally the one that has that furnace that is then supplying it, and then it's being installed by the sub. Let me see where I lost my spot here. Oh, so kind of in that same context, right? There may be times that Bill doesn't access the building at all, right? Because if there's no project going on, or there's no need for him to take inventory or figure out what's going on, there's no need for him to be there. So there won't be any full-time employees by any means, and even, Bill, the one person that will generally use the building, it may be, various weeks, and there could be weeks at a time where he's not there. And then, kind of on that same traffic context, there's not gonna be any deliveries from the standpoint of, commercial deliveries. If Bill has to drop something off or Bill brings something in, then that's the extent to which that will occur. But again, that's mainly gonna be him pulling into the garage or into the shed there and dropping everything off and then moving on. In terms of the project itself, there are currently two old buildings located there that will be demolished, and then this new building will be put in its place. Those two buildings predate Steve's ownership of the property. They are pretty dilapidated in the sense that they don't really serve a purpose anymore from what they were originally constructed for. So those are being removed, and then the new pole barn building is being built. And then additionally, there'll be kind of along 3rd Street there's an existing culvert that there's a swale that leads over into that area, that drainage area, there's going to be a new culvert put in, and then drainage will be improved in the entire area. In terms of the overview of the project and everything like that, that's pretty much all I have. I'm happy to take any questions, should there be any.
Are you aware of the recommendations proposed by staff?
Yes.
Okay, any issues with any of those recommendations?
No, sir.
Anyone else have any questions?
How many properties does Mr. Nolte have currently that he rents and rehabs?
I am not sure on the number. I know that there's just various different locations throughout the St. Louis area.
Okay, all right.
I'm curious, they're mentioning that this is a general contracting business. Usually when I hear the term general contracting, I think about contracting for other folks, not
Right.
just yourself.
Well, and that's kind of why it's the unique aspect of things it's him, Bill, acting in connection with his rental property business, right? So that's where it gets to the uniqueness of why there's not really that public type interaction and
I guess I'm
stuff.
just a little confused. I also own rental properties.
Right.
And my personal garage has some stuff in there that I store in it, but I wouldn't consider that a commercial use. But I guess the staff understands. Is
Yeah.
it just because of the scope, just that there's so much, that it's such a large building?
Yeah, so originally in June, they applied for a residential building permit, and it was denied for various reasons, such as the accessory structure size and setbacks. But I also left a note on there that it should not be used for commercial purposes. And at that point, Bill was indicating that it would be used for his rental, like this accessory structure would be used for his rental business. And we came to the conclusion that this conditional use in the ag district would fit the needs of what he's trying to do.
So it's basically just that the scope of it, it's not just like your drill and your,
Yeah.
tool bag in
Right.
your garage. It's a
Right.
whole, yeah.
Yeah.
Primarily because it's a business utilizing the building and not an individual.
Okay.
Now, does he do work for other property owners?
No, just for himself.
Then it would be commercial.
Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
confused, because I was thinking
Maybe
general
he should go-
contractor, like you're
He
doing
should
work for other
call, he should
people.
call Ms. Barr.
Right.
Anyone else?
Because
have
if he
any
did work for other people, I might need his card.
Anyone else have any other questions?
No.
Hearing none? Thank you, sir. We'll open the public hearing for, let me get back up here, CUP 24-05. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Yeah, sure, sure.
No, you can talk about it.
So I'll need to swear both of you in. Please raise your hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth during these proceedings under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your names and address for the record.
I'm Maddie Goldcamp, and I'm at 410 Lee Street in Defiance, Missouri.
Okay.
I'm William Goldcamp. I'm her husband at 410 Lee Street. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So we're here today because we are just concerned about how many businesses are working their way into Defiance. And I know that they're saying this isn't for commercial use, but the construction of a building, the demolition of a building, that requires a lot of, I'm assuming, people in order to do that, and as well as noise and potentially machinery, I suppose. And I think that it's getting a little out of hand in town, and we deal with a lot of noise in town in general, and I think you guys might see us back here at some point for a different business, but that's not what we're talking about today. But it is a constant concern, the noise and the traffic. And I know they're saying that it's gonna be minimal, but at what point do they decide to expand their business? I know that's pretty far down the road. However, I'm a little concerned about it. If there's general contractors, I feel like at some point, some of them might have to come to get stuff. That happens, you know, things get busy. And it sounds like there's gonna be a lot of trailers as well. I know it's probably just for storage, but I also do feel like it will bring more traffic. 94 and Double D are already overcrowded, and people don't drive on there the right way because they go way too slow, and maybe it's because they don't know, you know, the speed limit, but I do feel like it becomes a bit dangerous sometimes whenever we're dealing with that extra traffic, so.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it is just one person that's there, you know, and that's it, and you know, that's enforceable or whatever, then, you know, that doesn't actually sound that bad to me.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's one of the conditions is no more than one employee shall report to the building at any one time.
Okay.
So in order to get this, they have to comply with and agree with that.
Okay,
okay,
that's good to
And there's only
know.
gonna be one parking spot.
okay.
Okay, cool.
And at some point in the future, if they decide to change things,
They
then
have
we'll
to
be
They'd have to
back
come
here.
back.
Yep.
We have to come back.
And it says that, you know, no noise after 9 PM, which
Okay.
most people are construction
Right.
wise is done by 4 or 5 anyway.
Yeah.
Now, does it have a time in the morning?
No.
I think that would be amazing if there could be a time set in the morning as well.
Okay. It also says that they have a landscape buffer and light fixtures will be the cutoff light fixtures, so you shouldn't have too much light pollution. So
Okay,
that's part of it as well.
that's good to know.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep, we're concerned about how many businesses are working their way in town, so we just wanted to do our due diligence and at least show up because we got the letter.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
thank
all
you.
we have to say. Thank
And
you.
One thing I forgot is, Jared, you give them a card to fill out?
They already filled one out.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate, mailing address P.O. Box 1535 in O'Fallon. Just want to go through a couple things. The primary use of this building will be total inside storage of materials and equipment related to the property operations. It looks like to me like a low-impact type business. They're going to remove 2 smaller structures located on the property near the proposed building. We'll install a new culvert in the ditch that runs alongside of the property bordering 3rd Street to help with the same and adjoining properties. And no customers or other members of the public will access the building, and there will be no full-time staff members that are present. However, I have a couple issues with this conditional use permit. The first issue is I believe that they need to meet the minimum qualifications set forward in the County Codified Code of Ordinances for setbacks, rear setback and side setbacks. I think that's very concerning. I really didn't hear a real answer if the side and rear setbacks are going to be adhered to, but I really would like to hear from staff to see if that's going to be in compliance with our county codified code. Because of the single-family homes that are to the north and to the east of this facility, I would like to see more of a separation of residential, keeping property values and a separation between residential and the commercial district. I'd recommend on number 3 of the recommendation from staff, from a type 2 landscape buffer to a type 3 buffer minus the requirement to erect a fence. I think a type 3 buffer will instill property values and will instill quality of life in this downtown Defiance neighborhood. Number 6, I have some issues of constitutionality. You really can't constitute what somebody can do on their private property and private property owner rights. I believe number 6 should be removed because it's unconstitutional and you cannot be equitable in enforcing that only one person be on the property. An example is if there's something that's heavy to move, such as a furnace or air conditioner that's stored there, you're definitely going to need 2 to 3 people to move that out of that storage facility onto a truck. If you move a hot water tank heater, you're going to need at least 2 strong men to move that water heater.
It says 1 employee. Doesn't say anything. It just says 1 employee. So his son could come help him.
Okay. I
It
just
says
want to
one
make sure that we're
employee.
not being so restrictive that we're
Just says 1 employee.
impeding their right to move supplies.
He's the only employee, so that's why it's probably 1 employee.
Okay. And then when it comes to repair of certain things, I know, and all of you probably know at your home, sometimes you need 2 or 3 people to repair something. You need somebody to hold something, or a brace doesn't work. So I just want to make sure that we're not being too restrictive in unequitable enforcement and treating one property owner differently than others. Just a reminder, the commission, our 2030 master plan recommendation recommends this parcel for rural residential land uses. And I would recommend full approval of this conditional use permit with the offered amendments that I proposed, from changing the type 2 landscape buffer to a type 3 minus the erection of the fence, and removal of number 6 because I feel that it is unconstitutional and unenforceable. And I also would like somebody to ask staff about the setbacks. I think that's very important in this equation and approval process. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak regarding CUP 24-05? Anyone? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, ask the applicant to come back. Anyone have any additional questions for the applicant? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
All right. I did want to just address 2 things. With respect to the Gold Camp's concerns, I think they were both addressed by the commission, but the expansion issue, obviously, if the use was going to expand beyond what's authorized in the conditional use permit, we would have to come back for the amendment. And then the issue regarding the trailers that she had mentioned, all storage will be inside at the building. So there's not going to be any external storage or anything like that.
I did have a quick question. Is this
Go
not the
ahead,
right time? Okay. Mr. Denoff had mentioned doing some repairs, inside the building. It sounds to me like this is essentially a storage building.
Right,
And
so-
nothing will be done on site.
Correct. So generally, obviously, everybody has homes here. The repairs are going to occur at the residence, right?
Right,
If
right.
it's, a refrigerator that breaks down, it's not going to be drug all the way back here to be worked on. It's going to be worked on at the site.
Right.
So that is correct.
No, this is just the storage of stuff.
Correct.
It's essentially a detached garage.
Right.
Any other questions with the applicant? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll now bring application CUP 24-05 back to the commission for consideration. Anyone have any questions for staff? Might as well ask the setback questions. Do they meet the setback requirements?
Yeah, so based on the concept plan that was submitted by the applicant, it does meet all the setbacks listed in the UDO.
Okay, thank you, sir.
through the site plan process, they would have to meet all the other ordinances that are part of county requirements.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions, comments?
Yeah, they do, I mean, the neighbors do have a point about the time of day. What about start time? What are we saying on that end? We only have 9 o'clock at night, but till when? There really needs to be some, because what time, they can come in at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I
As
mean,
long
the
as they
county-
stop at 9 o'clock at night,
The
right?
county does have the noise ordinances that we have, so that would probably take care of the vast majority of those concerns. But if you did want to set a start time, I mean, you're more than welcome to do so.
That's a tough one. As someone
Yeah.
with experience in construction, it's pretty common to, especially if something needs to be exterior, it's pretty common to start at 6, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, if all we're doing is loading up a truck, that's not a particularly noisy activity, particularly if it's happening inside of a building.
I want to know what you guys think, really, more than
The other,
anything.
the other issue is what if somebody's refrigerator breaks at 2 a.m. or a furnace or a water heater and he's got to go pick one up at 3 a.m.? You know, again, it's going to be inside the building, it's going to be enclosed,
So why even 9 o'clock at night?
that I don't understand
Yeah.
either.
I mean, it's really, there's no, only being at 9 o'clock at night, then, okay, he stops at 9, 1 o'clock in the morning, he has to go do something, there's no time limit, is what I'm saying.
I mean, rental property isn't typically an emergency.
I know,
I've
but-
never had to do anything at 2 in the morning, ever.
But there's no time limit, it stops at 9, and then you can start at 10 again?
I
is
see
my
your point.
You know,
I mean, I would say 6 a.m. seems reasonable.
So, why don't you guys come back up and tell us what you think? I'd like to get a recommendation from you, Brad. Yeah. Probably should have asked you when you were up here. All right.
So I have not discussed the specific timing with Bill.
Right.
I would, in terms of the operations in which he described, I don't think the issue, that would be an issue in terms of a morning, the evening to morning type of cutoff. But I think, kind of to the point of the commission, that the activities, even if they are there in the evening, right, it's going to be a quick, minimal, it's not like there's going to be a lot of jackhammering or there's not going to be a lot of banging and clanging outside of the construction phase, right? Once the construction's done, the noise is going to be extremely minimal.
It's still my question to staff and to you is why only 9 PM? I mean, you can start at
It's
10.
a staff
then.
thing, I'm sure.
Right.
So if staff. if you guys-
Technically, you
I
can
just didn't know
start
if they
till
have a-
midnight, because that would be the
a
next
day.
morning.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so we don't have a time frame, so it doesn't make any sense to me to just say 9 PM.
Right.
So I don't know if you discussed that with staff and that's what they came up for you?
We had not discussed that previously, no.
So would sunrise to 9 PM be okay? I mean, you know.
I would, if that was what the condition was, I would venture to guess that would be fine.
But then what about emergencies? Outside, I mean, because
So
construction,
why-
emergencies
the
happen.
point is, why only
Just
9 PM?
eliminate-
Start-
I'd eliminate.
Yeah.
Just eliminate that
Yes.
recommendation.
Yeah, eliminate number
I just don't
5.
see why it's even enforceable. Because if you do it at 9, they can start up at 12.
I mean, this isn't
the
really
next
a
day.
business per se, it's really a
Right.
storage unit. It's someone's garage.
I
That's
just don't know
like
how they
saying,
comply or.
yeah,
or
that's like saying you can't back into your
comply with
garage
this
and
9
load
PM
up
deadline,
something.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, well,
Do you
let's,
guys get it from me?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Just get rid of that.
Staff's got their own requirements
Sure.
regardless for any property or decimals, so.
Well, then I was gonna say, if there was a violation on the noise ordinance, that would be obviously actionable, so.
Yeah.
Should we just get rid of that then?
Yes.
take care of that in the motion.
Is that something we do now or later?
So let's get staff involved. So why 9? Why didn't we pick a 9 to 6 AM or something, so it made more sense?
6 to
There's-
9.
Sure, so the 9 PM was we looked at some of the closing hours of other businesses in the area,
Right?
and we tried to use that as a guideline to halt the commercial activities.
Was that a retail businesses?
It was we looked at most of the other businesses in town.
Okay.
And then the other thing that we looked at, the intent of the no noise to be heard at the property line was so that you're not sitting there blasting a stereo
Sure.
and,
That
so it's not really intended to stop his his work. It's intended to stop any noises generated during the work.
So
Yeah,
then,
because it says no noise.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
say.
know, yeah, that's true. You're
So
right.
the
It does
the
say
intent
no.
there is to prevent him from cranking a radio and getting, and, disturbing the neighbors at.
So if
10
it's just for
o'clock at night.
no noise.
Wouldn't that
Then
already?
let's
Then
say
why don't you
8.
say 9 PM to 6 AM, no noise then?
Yeah.
There's a time frame then.
Yeah.
That's just, you can still get to your property.
Right.
Do what you need to, but you just can't have noise. I
Right.
mean, there's no limit. You could start it,
Right, no, yeah.
tell them after 9. I know it's reasonable thinking
Right,
that
and that's-
nobody would make noise till 6, but some
Right,
people
no,
do.
that
Or 5.
makes sense,
Yeah.
yes.
So no noise that can be heard at the property line shall be produced between 9 PM and 6
Yes,
AM.
and that's generally, all the operations will
Yeah.
be in
okay.
that manner.
I'd be
Okay.
comfortable with that amendment to it.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve CUP 24-05 with the following conditions. One, a site plan substantially conforming to the CUP concept plan, included as part of Exhibit B, should be submitted to and approved by the St. Charles County Community Development Department. Number two, a permit shall be obtained by the St. Charles County Highway Department for a commercial entrance. Type 3, a Type 2 landscape buffer per section 405.435 of the county code should be installed and maintained along the northeastern property line. 4, all exterior lighting on site shall utilize full cutoff light fixtures. Number 5, no noise that can be heard at the property line shall be produced between the hours of 9 PM and 6 AM. Number 6, no more than one employee shall report to the building at any one time. Number 7, no approved conditional use shall become active until all conditions of the approval shall have been met. That's the motion, is there, or that's the, you want to make a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Bamer made the motion, Mr. Fromm made the second. Ms. Kirschner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cornwell?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes.
Ms. Bamer?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so the application is approved. This will be taken up by the county council. This is only a recommendation at their Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 county council meeting. So the county council has to pass on our recommendation. Okay, back to the agenda.
2 tables.
The next thing on our agenda is approval of the August 21st, 2024 meeting minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the August 21, 24 planning and zoning meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the August 21, 2024 meeting minutes. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Any division updates?
So we've got an email here from Mike. He says that he's working on getting the applicants lined out for the director position, and he's looking to start doing the interviews there in 1 to 2 weeks. Once he gets that figured out, I think then we're going to work on replacing our admin, Marisa. And then we are waiting for some responses back from Housel Levine for our comprehensive plan. And once we get those responses back, then we will schedule the next part of that process.
Awesome.
Anyone have anything else, comments, et cetera? Hearing
Motion
none?
to adjourn.
Motions to, been made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.
That was fast.
Took me longer to drive here.